Behind me is Evilio Menjivar Ayala, the very first undocumented person to become a bishop in the United States. So, Bishop Menjivar has a very interesting immigration history. It was actually hard to track down, but since this is an immigration channel, I decided to go through his entire history and see how he came from El Salvador as an undocumented young man, 19 years old, and ultimately became a US citizen. So in 1990, like I said, he was about 18, 19 when he first left El Salvador. There was a civil war going on, and he was afraid of being recruited. Him and his 17-year-old brother were. Eventually, he did get to Tijuana and crossed over to San Isidro. He did it by sneaking in I think, a trunk of a car, him and his 17-year-old brother. That's the first immigration violation. It's an entry without inspection, it's a misdemeanor, and was on the books back in 1990. But regardless of his entry, once he was in the United States, there are two different reports about when he claimed asylum. I do believe he did, just not sure when. According to his interview, he claimed asylum within a few weeks of his entry, back in January 1990. Now, there's another interview by the Washington Post where it says that he claimed asylum a couple years later in Maryland. Regardless, the 1 year bar was not in place until 1996. So he could actually have claimed asylum at any point in time during the first few years after his entry, and it would have still qualified him for asylum. I do believe his interview. I think he did claim asylum because one of the benefits of claiming asylum is you get work authorization out of 180 days, which comes to another discrepancy based on all the sources I gathered. When and how did he get work authorization? Now, in 1990, TPS was finally passed by Congress, and El Salvador was the first country to be labeled for TPS. He entered in January 1990. TPS eligibility started around September 1990, so he definitely hit the cutoff deadline. If he claimed asylum early on, he would have gotten work authorization after 6 months. But even if he was still waiting for that card to show up, once he got TPS, because he was an El Salvadorian national that was inside the United States, he could have gotten work authorization through TPS. So the conflicting reports are, did he get it through TPS, which an interview said he did, or did he get it through asylum? Regardless, he got it. And honestly, it doesn't matter that much. He claimed asylum, he got work authorization, and he was living for years in the United States. Now, at a certain point, he adjusted status to a legal permanent resident, but I don't think he did it through asylum. So according to the Washington Post, he was actually petitioned for an EB-4, which is the religious visa, and he was probably allowed to adjust status inside the United States because early in the 90s, we allowed people to adjust status under Section 245I that was passed in 1994. But back then, if you crossed within the right time frame, even if you did it undocumented, you were allowed to adjust status. And I believe he did so into a religious visa. And he used that status as a religious worker to eventually, in 2006, become a US citizen. I wish him the best. If you like that content, you want to hear the article or read the article and see all the sources for this, go to The Migration on Substack.